everyone, and welcome to Blue Raider Extra Points season finale. I'm Dylan Simmons, joined by my co-host Adam Brown, and in his debut, Ryan Martinelich. First up, we're going to go around the CUSA and go around the merry-go-round with Adam Brown.
All right, Dylan, this week we have a cross-conference matchup where two SEC teams are taking on two Conference USA teams. So let's take a look.
This week on Around the CUSA, we're having a little CUSA versus SEC challenge. Western Kentucky travels to the Plains to take on an Auburn team that has had a late-season jolt of energy thanks to interim head coach Cadillac Williams. As Auburn looks for their next head coach, Coach Cadillac has been giving his best audition for the job on the field by leading the Tigers to a win over Texas A&M last weekend. His tryout for the job continues this week as they take on the high-flying Hilltoppers offense from Western Kentucky. Western is looking for a program-boosting win over an SEC opponent in the middle of a race to make the championship game in their own conference. Austin Reed in this offense has been on fire, and Auburn cannot afford to overlook this team. Next up, UAB travels to Death Valley to take on the LSU Tigers. Brian Kelly has LSU in the spotlight in his first year as the head coach. The Bayou Bengals clinched their spot in the SEC championship last weekend as the SEC West champions after rattling off 4 straight SEC wins, including an overtime win over Alabama. UAB has their work cut out for them, but are a talented team in their own right. These teams are identical in points per game and points allowed per game, which is an interesting stat, but with LSU doing it against better competition, the 14.5 points in the Tigers' direction is probably right. That's all for us this year, but we'll be back next season with everything you need to know around the CUSA.
Should be interesting to see if we can get some Conference USA SEC upsets this week.
Yeah, I'm really liking that WKU Auburn. I think they match up really well. Can't wait to see what happens there.
Certainly going to be an interesting week of games. Now let's get the full Thanksgiving feast of CUSA games with our matchups. Those are this week's matchups. Stay tuned for more here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let
Welcome back to the Hall of Fame. Up next, Dylan, what do you have for us on the Big Blue Review this week?
Well, we got MTSU men's basketball shooting it with green arrow-like efficiency, and we're also going to get the latest on MTSU volleyball. Let's take a look. MTSU volleyball is coming off a battle worthy of the Roman Coliseum against the number 21 Rice Owls. It was senior day for the Raiders, and they gave it all they had to go out with a bang in the regular season. Senior Kaylee Oscarson led the unit with an emphatic 9 kills and 2 blocks on the day. Deja Smith also came out big for the seniors, as she led the team defensively, with a team-leading 6 blocks that were savage enough to raise the Rock's eyebrows. In the end, the team would end up taking a 3-0 loss, but still had a lot to hang their hats on after performing so well against such an impressive opponent. More good news has been given in the days since, as the Blue Raiders have been selected to participate in the CUSA tournament in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Men's basketball squared off with the Rice Owls on Tuesday night, and burnt them as badly as Anakin Skywalker on Mustafar. The biggest calling card for the team was defense, which was suffocating all night long. The Owls were held to just 14.3% shooting from the field and could not find any clearance against MT defenders. Eli Lawrence was the top scorer of the night with an exhilarating 16 points that set the tone for the Blue Raiders offense. He would soon be joined by Trayvon Smith off the bench, who had 14 points of his own to send Rice into a tailspin. Christian Fussell was a masterful conductor with the ball, as he directed traffic across the lanes with 4 assists, which is his new career high. All of this led to MTSU continuing their winning ways in the Glass House and coming out on top 81-46. They are now 1-0 in CUSA play and look ahead to their next opponent in Missouri State, who they will play on the road later today. Great to see men's basketball and volleyball leaving a John Hancock-sized signature on this season.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the women's volleyball team has in store for us in the postseason, trying to redeem themselves after getting swept by WKU in the regular season. But right now, we're going to take a quick look at what we have in store on the Spotlight.
Teacher by day, athlete by night. That describes Christoph Rosenmuller.
I'm a professor of Latin American history at MTSU. So I teach, I write, and also do a little bit of administration here.
His day job might be teaching, but at night is where he gets to do one of his favorite hobbies, water polo.
I played it when I was in school in Germany for 1 semester, but I've always swam and I liked swimming.
But how does he balance working and being an athlete?
I don't think it's a contradiction to work during the day and then go to play water polo in the night. Sit at your desk the whole day, typing or in front of a class. It's really relaxing to go to the pool afterwards, swim and play. It's great.
Not only does teachers play with this group, but students do too.
I'm only 18, but you can be 18 and up to come play. And so I'm a senior in high school. I go to this little school in like a workout facility called Ed Options, and it's a bunch of hockey players and stuff. So I'm the only water polo player there.
This water polo squad plays at the Murfreesboro Rec Center on Tuesday nights.
And I come here every Tuesday night to after school and training and all that. I come here to play scrimmage, and it's so much fun. Great practice. These guys are amazing. And it's also a good workout too.
These guys practice, then they play 4 quarters of 8 minutes. This game is physical and a tough workout.
And the nice thing is if at some point you're able to swim towards the other goal and nobody is covering you, there's no defense on you, and you get the ball and you get to take a shot at the goal and you actually manage to throw it in.
The players range from businessmen to social media managers all the way up to retirees. From working or going to school, this game is a way to escape it all. From Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Audrey Green, MTN News.
What another lovely MTSU Spotlight we just showed you.
Stick around, we'll be right back on True Blue TV.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzz and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. Let's kick it over to Grant Langston to get that vanilla this week on The Scoop.
Johnny Red Floyd Stadium will play host to the last Blue Raider home game of the season today.
MTSU enters the weekend as a 6-point underdog to Conference USA opponent Florida Atlantic, while the over-under is set at 51.5 points. Both squads are 5-5 and need at least one more victory to secure bowl eligibility. If you are planning on attending today's game, it will be 45 degrees at kickoff with temperatures dropping into the mid-30s by the end of the game. So bundle up. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Grant. Ryan, what do you have for us this week on the Scouting Report?
Yeah, right now we're going to take a quick look at what these Owls from Boca Raton have in store for the Blue Raiders.
The Owls are coming into the game on a 2-game win streak thanks to a combination of stellar defense and a consistent and efficient offense, led by senior quarterback N'Kosi Perry. Perry has been a great dual threat for Willie Taggart's offense, throwing for 22 touchdowns, running for another 5 scores, and combining for over 2,300 yards of total offense. Joining Perry in the backfield is junior running back Larry McCammon, who has rushed for over 800 yards and 4 touchdowns, along with freshman running back Zabari Mobley, who has rushed for over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. Overall, they combine for 1,500 yards of total offense. In the receiving game, Perry's go-to target this year has been sophomore LeJontay Wester, who has brought in 52 receptions for nearly 600 yards and 8 touchdowns. Other targets have included junior receiver Jaquan Burton and Jamal Edrine, who have combined for nearly 60 receptions, over 800 yards, and 7 touchdowns. With this balanced attack, any defense would be pressed to guess what is coming at them. Florida Atlantic's defense, while not stifling, is capable enough, especially in the defensive backfield. They are led by junior linebacker Eddie Williams, who leads the team in tackles with 65 and is credited with a forced fumble and fumble recovery. In the back end of the Owls' defense are safeties Dwight Toombs and Taha Young, along with junior cornerback Romaine Mungan. These 3 defensive backs have combined for 14 pass deflections and 7 interceptions, and Young's 2 interceptions were both returned for long touchdowns. Avoiding pressure will be key for the Blue Raiders, as any errors committed against Florida Atlantic will be costly and hard to overcome in the end.
All right, Ryan, thank you for taking us behind the FAU curtain to see what they've got this week on the Scouting Report. Now, guys, let's get into MTSU's keys to succeed this week against the Owls.
Yeah, so Dylan, key number 1 right now, clip the wings. You got to take that Owls offense and you got to clip it. All right, you cannot let N'Kosi Perry pass the ball, pass all over our defense. All right, you got to shut down those big plays. All right, let them become one-dimensional. We got a great run defense. That's all we got to do. Just make them one-dimensional. 2, we got to hit the ground running hard. All right, you got to give Frank the Tank Peason and company all the carries you can. You've got to let the passing game open up if you want to get those plays going, and you got to get that offensive on the roll. Number 3, go bowling for soup. All right, stay warm, stay hot. You got to take out a page out of the LSU-Arkansas game last week. All right, keep that chicken broth and chicken soup on the bench, on the sideline.
Tasty.
All right, you got to stay warm. You got to stay motivated. You got to stay hot. Keep the momentum going on the court, on the field.
Ryan, you've got me hungry now, but we're going to try and get through these keys anyway. Oof. My first one is score 24. FAU is 0-5 this season when their opponent scores 24 points or more. That's the magic number for the Raiders today, but if they get there, they cannot take their foot off the gas with how high-powered this FAU offense is. Secondly, defensive dominance. This is going to take the best defensive performance from this Raiders team that they've had all season. If they're going to become bowl eligible today, they're going to have to earn it. And then finally, Ryan, you touched on it, stop N'Kosi Perry. He is the engine that makes that offense go. He's their leader. He's their quarterback. He's got 2,000 yards this season and 22 touchdowns. He has to be the focal point of the defensive game plan today.
It's going to be harder to stop Mr. Miami himself, but we'll see how MTSU stacks up to the challenge. They've already proven they can beat Miami before, so we'll find that out. My first key is going to be special team spectacle. You know, guys, there's one unit of MTSU's team that we haven't really highlighted this year, and that's the special teams. They had a brilliant blocked punt against Charlotte that really turned the game in our favor, turned the tide, so to speak. It's going to take plays like that against FAU in a cold environment, guys, colder than Mr. Freeze out there. If MTSU can make plays like that, it's going to be the crucial and the key for them to turn the game really in the way they want it to go. My second key is going to be Valiant Vadiato. Nick Vadiato, he's a man who oozes the clutch gene. He has been thrust into a huge position and has delivered for this team like FedEx time and time again. It boggles my mind that he's only a sophomore. He's my age, and yet he's got that Peyton Manning maturity every time he hops onto the football field. He's going to have to make all those kinds of clutch plays to really deliver for MTSU today. I believe he can. I believe he will. And finally, my third key is 10 pinch strikes. So you might see where I'm going with this. This is MTSU's ultimate moment to clinch a second straight year with a bowl game, and that can be done at home today on Senior Day. I'm looking for the seniors to step up, make an impact, take the lessons you have learned from this year and put it all into focus, all into perspective to really make an impact and get yourself a strike this year here in this potential to be bowl eligible. Those are our keys for the week. Stay tuned for more here on Blue Raider Extra Point.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. It's now time for everyone's favorite part, the CUSA Picks of the Week. But before we get started, I want to introduce my man Nick Frazier back on the show. Nick, it's great to have you.
I appreciate y'all having me back. You know, this time last year, I was a co-host of the show. This year, I'm a guest picker. So this is a true honor to be on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, things coming full circle. Obviously, you're doing big things in the podcasting world. We're getting more into that later. But let's get down to brass tacks here, guys. First up, we got UTSA taking on Rice, Ryan.
Pretty straightforward here, Dylan. It's got to be UTSA. You know, Frank Harrison, that air raid offense, have just playing so solid throughout the year. Rice just doesn't have any defensive weapons that are going to be able to slow him down. So I'm going to have to take the Roadrunners here covering the spread.
Yeah, that's a double-digit spread, and I couldn't agree more. Rice is just not on the same level as this Roadrunner team, and they get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with both of them. UTSA was a bandwagon pick for me last year with Frank Harrison. You know, you got Joshua Cephas. And you got Zachary Franklin. I mean, there's a loaded bunch of teams there. I mean, the players, it just goes on and on and on. Give me the Roadrunners.
Yeah, I want to send a personal thank you to UTSA. They've been a great team to cover these last 2 years on Blue Raider Extra Point, giving us some truly great football. Going to miss them going to the American. But they're probably about to win yet another CUSA championship. They're playing lights out right now. They embody the spirit of Krispy Kreme, as you mentioned, and I think that's going to be key for them moving into this game. Rice, I've called them bland all year. That's not going to change. I don't think that they've got what it takes right now. I don't think they have the consistency. UTSA is like the greatest show on turf. Rice threw 4 interceptions in their last game combined. To me, it's easy. UTSA gets it done. Next up, Louisiana Tech versus Charlotte.
You know, it's a tough one right here because you got two teams just bottom feeders right now in CUSA standings. You know, it's pretty obvious that Parker McNeil was missed by La Tech last week. I just don't like the way Charlotte's playing right now. We saw what happened against MTSU last week. You know, sure, both teams are coming off a loss, but I got to go with my man Parker McNeil leading the Bulldogs, or the Bulldogs here against the 49ers.
All right. Those Bulldogs are a 3-point favorite on the road, but I'm kind of leaning Charlotte here, and I think they get the upset in the bottom feeder bowl in Conference USA.
Adam and I have been kind of on the same page all show. I like this. This is a good sign.
Same wavelength, yeah.
I got to go with Charlotte just because the experience they have on the team, a lot of seniors, and, you know, when you're in a tight spread game like this, you got to go with the experience.
I get that 100%. And I got to say, guys, welcome to CUSA Tank Bowl, because both of these teams are absolutely bad. I'm sorry. A combined record of 5-16. That's not good here, guys. But I think, like you mentioned, it's going to come down to veteranosity. They do have Chris Reynolds in that receiving room who, you know, they've struggled this year, but they've got a little bit more chemistry than this Louisiana Tech team that's, you know, drastically, as Ryan mentioned, missed Parker McNeil. To me, that's going to be the difference in this one. Charlotte is going to take this one in a bit of an upset, but I think they get the job done here. All right, next up we got FIU versus UTEP.
You know, I'm kind of tough right here too because it's 2 4-6 teams coming into this game right here. You know, win or go home essentially. You know, keep those postseason hopes alive. UTEP's been playing a little better, especially on the ground game these last few weeks. Gavin Hardison is making fewer errors in the passing attack. FIU got slaughtered by the Owls last week, so I'm gonna have to go with the Miners here.
Yeah, you mentioned those similar records, but it's not that close of a game. UTEP is the much better team here, and I think they cover the spread.
Once again, Adam and I, same page.
Great minds.
I will definitely take UTEP right here just because they run the ball so well and nobody really realizes it until they watch them play. So I'm all over UTEP.
Yeah, you know, FIU, they turned the Shula Bowl into an absolute joke, an absolute massacre is what happened. FIU got destroyed by the Owls, and now you're going to, I mean, Grayson James, he had 56 yards and 2 interceptions. That's all I'm going to say on the quarterback side of it. He did not play a great game, and to me, UTEP, yeah, like you mentioned, great running game. Now, Gavin Hardison, he's not going to sky the ball out as much, but he still has something to offer. If FIU's got any chance, they're going to have to ground him like a kid who just stole $30 out of mom's wallet, or else it's going to be over before it even started. And I think that's going to be the key. Which passing game can find for him? It's going to be UTEP. I think the Miners get the job done in this one, in the fight for bowl eligibility. All right, guys, next up, Western Kentucky takes on Auburn.
Controversial opinion here, but I got to go with that red. I got to go with that red team from the north. I got to go with the WKU. They're playing lights out right now. Austin Reed airing it out well for that Tyson Helton attack. They're going into Jordan Hare, even though as an underdog. Cadillac Williams has coached the Auburn team a lot better these last few games. But Robbie Ashford's struggling to pass the ball, and this means they're going to have to rely too heavily on Tank Bigsby. So I got to go with the Hilltoppers here.
Yeah, this game is a lot about pride, I think. This Auburn team doesn't want to lose out of the SEC to a Conference USA team. And the one word I would use for this Auburn program right now is revitalize. Cadillac Williams has energized this program, and a lot of people aren't talking about this, but this Auburn team can still make a bowl. They have to beat Alabama, but they can still make a bowl, and it starts this week, and they get the job done against Western.
Yeah, I'm going to lean with Adam here just because, he makes a good point about beating Alabama. Alabama's on one of those slope years. I mean, it would be a perfect time for Auburn to win this week and next week to be bowl eligible. So I'm going to go with Auburn just because of that purpose, and they're just a better team. You can't go wrong with Auburn.
Maybe we could see an Auburn MTSU matchup in a bowl game.
Ooh,
that'd be nice.
That'd be something. That'd be something. But ESPN is calling this weekend Statement Saturday, and I think that's because teams like Auburn are looking to make a statement against teams like Western Kentucky. But I think that's a mistake because you're scheduling a very difficult team, as we have seen. They're 7-4 for a good reason. They play good football, and Austin Reed. I mean, he's not exactly Bailey Zappi, but the dude can play football. He might very well be in contention, in my opinion, for the Davey O'Brien award. He had 377, 3 touchdowns last week. The dude can play. And as for Auburn, they've been struggling as of late. They do have Cadillac Williams leading the charge. The question is going to be, can Tank Bigsby really get the running game going in this one? I think they'll have success. Western's defense has struggled, but I'm with Ryan. I know I said I was a little worried about what he said earlier, but I got to agree. I think Western's taking this one. Give me the Hilltoppers, as hard as that might be to say around here in Murfreesboro. But next up, we've got UAB taking on number 6 LSU.
That's in Death Valley here. Jaden Daniels and these Tigers are on a roll right now. They've locked up the SEC West, and I hate to say it, but Brian Kelly is doing a great job down there in Baton Rouge. So pretty straightforward. I hate to say it, but go Tigers.
Oh,
Coach O impression there is spot on. But this LSU team is doing exactly what everybody hopes their college football team does, and they're hitting their stride in November. They're playing their best ball right now, guys.
Right.
And UAB is just a little bump in the road on the way to the SEC championship game for them.
Yeah, they're both right. I got to lean LSU in this point. I think a lot of the LSU fan base does not care about fake accents anymore. They just care about wins in this case. So I'm going to go with LSU for that purpose. And the youth of this team as well is starting to mature as games progress. And yeah, that's another reason why I'm going to go with LSU.
Yeah, I'm going to say this one. You got UAB coming into Death Valley against Brian fake Southern accent Kelly, but I think that we've moved past that. The guy can coach. They did lose to FSU, which I'm not going to forgive you for, Tigers, but the fact is they've redeemed themselves. They just beat Alabama, which is not an easy thing to do, as we've seen. Now, you do have Jermaine Brown Jr., Dwayne McBride, a double running game who can absolutely play some football and really combine on the rushing attack, but I think at the end of the day, that's not going to be enough for UAB to come out of this one. I think they're going to walk in and end up getting defeated pretty badly. I know our producer TJ has said for weeks now that LSU is going to lose by 30, but it's not going to happen, TJ. It's going to be LSU all the way, but let's bring it around the horn and bring it home here, guys. Our last game, it's going to be our last pick of the year. Florida Atlantic going to Murfreesboro to take on the Blue Raiders.
Right now, if you're the Blue Raiders, you're just going to have to find a way to lock down on N'Kosi Perry. He's a dual threat guy. He can do it with his arms, and he can do it with his legs. So you got to really work hard, press the cornerbacks there, and make sure you're just not giving up those big chunk plays. And you're going to have to rely heavily on the ground game. Give Frank Peason the ball as often as you can, as many times as you can. So it's kind of close for me right now, but I got to go with the home team. I got to go with the Blue Raiders.
Well, FAU is a 6-point favorite on the road, and what does Vegas know that we don't? I looked into it. Statistically, this is not a great matchup for the Blue Raiders, and I don't think they're able to get the win this week, but they do become bowl eligible next week.
Okay, well, I'm leaning towards the MTSU Blue Raiders this week just because this is a game where the defense has to step up. So I'm leaning towards the Blue Raiders.
I'm going to say this one. MTSU, this is their last game that we're picking this year. I want to see them go out on top. Florida Atlantic has N'Kosi Perry, former member of the U. I know my U privileges may have been taken away, but man, this guy lights up teams like a Christmas tree every time he goes out and plays. He's an absolute unit. MTSU is going to have to stop him on defense. They're going to be probably without Chase Cunningham, but Nick Vadiato, this guy's got John Wick levels of intensity. I spoke to him earlier this week. He can absolutely play, and he's ready to lead this team forward. I think he will. I think he'll be the key. And I think for anyone who's an FAU fan watching from home, you're going to want to turn the channel with one of these remotes right here. Maybe hit the rewind button and go back. Act like this didn't happen. Whatever you've got to do, you're not going to want to watch this because MTSU takes this one 28-23. Change the channel, turn off the TV.
Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter for all your Blue Raider coverage and more.
Well, it has been a fantastic season, but before we go, got to ask my man Nick Frazier. You've been doing some big things in the podcasting world. Tell me about that. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. You know, my podcast, the name is The Nick Frazier Podcast. You can check it out on any streaming platform, Apple, Spotify, wherever else you can find it. Recently, just got put on Amazon Music and iHeartRadio, so it's pretty big.
Absolutely. Love to see it, man.
That's awesome. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have here at Blue Raider Extra Point. But we want to thank you for joining us here for our season finale.
If you missed this or any other episode, you can check it out on MiddleTennesseeNews.net and hit the sports tab.
Be sure to follow us at MTN Sports on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in 2023.
So you stole your mom's money and her TV remote?
Yeah, what's that
This
about?
is not mom's TV remote. Actually, I got this out of the newsroom.
So you stole property from
Don't tell Dan.
You know that's still rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. He doesn't have to know. He doesn't have to.
Is that him right there? Wait a minute. What's going on?
No.
He's behind you right now.
Rewind. Go back, Dan. See, this is gonna work.
The movie Clue.
Yeah, turn it off. Turn him off. This is a universal remote. It turns off everything, including FAU. They're gonna get.
You may not be back here next season when Dan finds out you stole.
No. I have to be back here. This is my show, man.
We're gonna have Nick.
Nick
come take
knows.
your spot.
Oh yeah, bring him back.
Yeah, I just might.
I miss Krispy Kreme. I honestly do.
Hot picks.
Hot picks. Tasty hot picks. That's kind of what inspired Prop of the Week.
There
honestly,
you go.
Yeah. Just can't stop it.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But
I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.